Okay, listen up. As of today, I'm 23 years old. My father made me start programming when I was an 11-year-old kid.
Hi,
Ever since I hopped on codecademy.com at 11 years old, I realized that this is something cool. But I never really connected the dots until I got older and I enrolled in a computer science degree. Something which I should never have done, but I did anyways because of familiar pressure. This video is basically gonna be a few lessons that I wish I knew before I started programming. And I think it's going to be useful for you too. I know a lot of starting developers out there might feel lost and directionless, and they might feel like they're missing something, right? This video is for you. And it also happens to be that this is my first video ever on this channel, and I really wish you enjoy it. So take a seat, grab a cup of coffee, maybe a notebook if you're one of those motherfuckers. Enjoy this video, and I'll see you at the end. Bye-bye. You're probably wondering what you should know before you start programming. That's why you clicked on this video. I'm gonna run you through a few things that I wish I knew before I started programming. Let's get started. Okay, so the first thing I wish I knew before I started programming was the fact that I stood on the shoulders of giants. Now, what does that mean? Well, ever since the 1970s, software developers like you and me started adding towards the global repository of code online. Now, developers like you and me created systems and infrastructures and mechanisms to help us run, deploy, test, and maintain code. Now, you're gonna need to get familiar with all of this stuff. And so how do you do that? Well, you read up on a lot of computer organization books, you understand what is a compiler, what is an interpreter, if you want, and if you feel real ballsy, you make your own. Now, I had to do it, but that was super difficult. It took me an entire textbook and 2 weeks to do that. But if you're up for the challenge, definitely do it. So what else do you need to know in order to understand what the people before you did? Well, you can also understand the history and the timeline of the programming languages that came before the ones we know today, like Python, JavaScript, etc. You know, one of the very early languages was assembly. Assembly it just looks like numbers. You're literally telling the processor what to do. Now, after assembly, you get stuff like Fortran and Haskell and shit like that basically looks like Chinese to me. No offense if Chinese, but that shit is really difficult. After that, you get Java, you get C++, which basically abstract a lot of what you need to do in order to talk to the computer, right? And today you have better versions of C++ and Java, stuff like Python and JavaScript that run really fast, or let's say relatively fast, and get a lot done in the same amount of time. The next thing I wish I knew when I started programming was the fact that software is just math, but automated and applied. No, what does that mean? When I started developing software for the first time and programming for the first time, it really felt like magic. I would just type some shit into a computer and shit would appear on the screen. But once I first started figuring out what actually goes on behind the scenes, the whole picture started getting really clear. You are providing concrete instructions to a machine that will then interpret it and do the things you want to do with it, right? It's not going to do something out of the blue. For example, if you have a microwave, right, and you tell it to run for 1 minute on 360 degrees, it's not gonna run for 5 minutes or randomly do a backflip or something. No, it's gonna do what you told it to do, right? Same thing with software. It will do literally what you tell it to do. It's not magic, it's just numbers and a bunch of repetition. So read up on the concept of automaton if you want to figure out more. The next thing I wish I knew when I started programming was the fact that requirement engineering is a thing. Now, what is requirement engineering? Requirement engineering is nothing other than extracting the most useful features and separating it from the more useless features. Right? A very well-known method to do that is called MOSCA. Must have, could have, should have, and won't have. It is a very useful endeavor to open a Google Sheets whenever you're embarking on a new project and just writing them out. What must this app have? What should this app have? What could this app have? And what won't this app have? So this way you can prioritize your time and actually build features that matter the most. Now, it's a very big meme online that software developers like you and me oftentimes disregard what customers like to use, and we just go ahead and start coding whatever we want to code. Right? Because it's fun. Coding is really fun, I get it. But this is very important, and I wish I knew this earlier. Requirement engineering is very important. So, young Neil, I wish you would have done it before. Alright. The next thing I wish I knew before I started programming was the fact that you should think from first principles. Now, what is that? Thinking from first principles is the act of breaking down each and every conceptual building block until you reach the fundamental building block upon which that concept rests. For example, if you have a book, you can separate a book into a set of chapters. And then from each chapter, you can split it into a set of paragraphs. And now each paragraph you can split into a set of sentences. Now each sentence you can split into a set of words, and then from each word you can split that into a set of letters. If you master your conceptual understanding of the letters, then the words, then the sentences, then you go all the way back up. Eventually you will have mastered the creation of a book. Now, what does that have to do with software? I'll tell you soon. Software is nothing but systems. Complex software these days is nothing but software systems that work with each other based off of predefined contracts. Now, that's just big mumbo jumbo bullshit for a lot of software working together in harmony. But in order to understand an existing system or to create a system that doesn't exist yet, you need to understand everything that this system does. You have to understand it from a big picture, and you need to bring yourself into the very small details and master those as well. Understanding that entire process is what we call first principles thinking. Another way to think about it is like this. Imagine you're defining a function, right? What inputs are you putting into the function, and what outputs do you expect from this function? And then after that, you can think, okay, what happens in the processing step of this function in order to actually get something useful out of it? You know what? I genuinely feel like I'm one of the biggest nerds alive. I don't think about these things usually from a day-to-day perspective, but today actually putting my thoughts into words and presenting this in front of the camera really makes me feel like I'm a big-ass nerd, man. Shit. Goddamn. I wish computer science wasn't as nerdy as people think it is. Alright, okay. Let's get to it. So the final thing that I'm going to mention today that I wish I knew before I started programming was this. With great power comes great responsibility. And I mean it. I'm not kidding. When you understand how to build software, scale it, maintain it, test it, and deploy it, you're going to understand that you have powers in your fingertips. I can literally build anything I want to build. What I can't do is make a shit ton of people use it. I can't do that yet. I'm not God. But one day I will be able to. I digress. Building software is super powerful. Now, so many founders that I've met have told me that if someone is able to build a full stack solution, they're basically an entrepreneur. They have magic in their hands. If you master the art of building anything, from a front-end experience to a back-end experience to a database integration, and today with AI integration, you are literally 99% ahead of all the developers out there. If you can create digital real estate like all the other full stack developers can, you will understand that you have the power. You really do have the power, and you have to be responsible for it. You can create malware, you can create phishing sites, you can do so many things. But no, you're gonna choose to do the right thing because that's who we are as people. We have to do the right thing at the right time. So to wrap up, screw that, I'm not gonna wrap up. This is my first video. Take it easy. Good luck with your journey. I believe in you. Best of luck. You got this shit. And show me what you can do. Oh, and for the people wondering why I look so pimply, I'm Pimple Max. It's because I just moved to India and the climate here clearly doesn't suit me. I've been living in Northern Europe for the last 6 years, so I got used to that climate of it being really cold all the time. So being in India now with like 35 degrees centigrade every day, combined with sweat, pollution, etc., really does a number on you. So yeah, expect this to go away soon. But I'll be honest, I was a bit scared making this video, but screw it, you know. Make fun of me, have fun, have at it. I've always wondered what it would be like to have trolls in my comment section. So good luck with that shit. Please let me know what you build. I'm very excited. Follow me on GitHub, follow me on Twitter. Peace out, take it easy, you guys are the shit. And remember, life is a gift given by the gods to make a proper use of it.